I'm back to doing my experimenting again because when you're trying to do sustainable practices, the problem with not using Oasis forms for funeral flowers is that obviously you haven't got a plastic bag, and so water is obviously an issue, because if you put anything straight into these trays that I use, these are Bagasse, these are palm leaf, they go very soft and lose their integrity quite quickly. So the norm is to get your composting bag and use it as a liner. Okay, now I always felt confident about these because this one in particular, suitable for home composting or commercial composting, 100% compostable, and so on and so forth. But there has been a few posts recently, and I've seen things online that some of these things aren't as good and plastic free as you're expecting them to be, and that quite a few of these compostable bags break down and still have microplastics, which obviously is not something that we want. It's in a good position to be in. So I thought, what other substances could I use for waterproofing? So I did a bit of research and came up with beeswax. And on further research, beeswax, when you melt it and it hardens, it's quite brittle. So quite a few places say mix it with oil. Now this is 30-gram piece of beeswax, which I have grated. So I'm putting it into a double boiler. So this is my glass jar over boiling water, turn it down slightly. I'm going to put the grated beeswax in here, 30 grams of beeswax, like that. And I'm adding 30 grams of olive oil, okay? I think this will be an ongoing experiment because in some places I've had 1 part beeswax, 1 part olive oil. Other places it's 1 part to 2 parts, etc. and so on. So you need to find out the best ratios. So basically, I'm going to heat these two together until all I've got left is liquid. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to coat my trays with this mixture. Got a paintbrush ready, and I'm going to do 3 different options. I'm going to do, obviously leave one completely uncoated so I can do a comparison. The other 2 of each one I'm going to coat with the beeswax mix. In one of them I'm going to also add a wool layer. This is what our dog food comes in. And then I won't do that until the wax is completely hardened and dried. But then I'm going to tip the same amount of water into each tray and leave it and see how long it stays watertight. So I'll come back to you when this has melted. So here we are with day 2, and still feel a bit tacky, but I think they'll be fine to use. Now I am actually going to put more water in than probably would leak normally because I want to check that it works. Although sometimes if I make a funeral arrangement and tip it, lots of water comes out. So I think it does really need to be protected from the water. Now I'm actually going to put a fair amount of water in, just to see how it goes, and I'm going to leave everything for 24 hours and see how it goes. So these are the ones without any coating. After all this I might find out in actual fact they're fine without any liner, but I don't think so. So those are the ones that are just completely plain out of the packet. These are the ones that are just coated with the wax and olive oil coating. And then these are the ones that I'm going to put a lining of wool core. Now this is free for me because it comes from what's our dog food comes in as an insulating material. And I think it will add another layer of moisture control, so we'll see how that works. There we go, so that's those two. Like that. And the final one, this one. Right, I'm going to leave those soaking for 24 hours, which is probably what I would do for funeral flowers. I usually do them the day before, leave them overnight, add a few extra stems in the morning and then deliver them. So that's the sort of time frame that I'd be working to normally with funeral flowers. So we'll come back tomorrow and see how everything is holding up with the water. So here we are on day 3, and the trays have been soaking in the water for 24 hours, and the results are pretty impressive. Now this is the palm leaf tray, which has no coating on it, and this is the palm leaf tray that does have the coating on it, and as you can see, this one has lost its shape, whereas this one has stayed the same shape. So I'm just going to tip the water out, so. And this is actually really quite pliable. Whereas this one is, well, actually it's a little bit soft, but it definitely has more integrity than that one. When it comes to these Bagasse plates, this one with the coating is actually really quite firm. Whereas this one, you can see, it's really easy to move around, and the sides in particular are really flimsy, whereas this one, the sides and the integrity of it have actually stayed almost intact. Very pleased with the way that's worked out. Now the ones with the wool inside, obviously I really overdid it with the amount of water I put in here. But I feel like the wool, it still has its integrity because it's got the coating, but I feel like the wool actually soaks up quite a lot of the water, so you haven't got as much loose dripping water that you would have. Same with this one, look. Only a tiny bit of water actually soaks out, and it's still got the integrity. So moving forward, I am definitely going to coat my trays with beeswax and olive oil mix. I will probably still use the wool as an extra layer to absorb the water, and this means that I won't have to use compostable bags. Compostable bags, I think, are an issue that needs to be addressed, and I will be addressing that in the future.